Hello, I wanted to talk today about a different supplement. I've been recording videos about an elf and an orc had a little baby, but I also wanted to show you Awakened Animal Adventurers, which is, you can see the cover of it here. The basic concept is that you can play a beast or plant um, as a player character. So, for example, let's say there's a bear in the woods, a spellcaster encounters it, casts the awaken spell on it. That bear becomes something with an average intelligence and learns a language because of that spell. And then that could be the origin of your story. You can play the bear. So instead of being like bear folk or cat folk or something like that, you actually are the beast, um, as they are naturally with the same physiology of the actual animal or plant, but just with the wherewithal, the intelligence to have a personality, and go out and be an adventurer in the world. So that's what this supplement is all about. I'm going to show you how to use this supplement. Let me just show you a couple of pages. My editor was Ukulele Bard, and I did most of the rest, except of course the art, which Anna Gregerson did a lot of it. I've pulled in the DM's Guild Creator Resource art, and then there were a few others. And as you can see, you can be a giant badger, a bear. Each of these comes with its own example character. So, for example, this is a giant fire beetle, and you have this creature named Flare, who is a giant fire beetle ranger. And I just wanted to show you how to create a character using this supplement as well. I think that this is really fun, and in fact, my current playing group in our weekly sessions, they're all awakened animals using this supplement. One is an awakened pony, one is an awakened red panda, and one is an awakened wolf. And we're having a lot of fun having these talking animals roaming around the countryside, having their own adventures. And so without further ado, let me show you what this looks like. So I've got my own character sheet here. I'll put my name on it. And I'm going to, instead of a race, put an animal. Let's have it be a goat. So I'm going to play an awakened goat. Love goats. So I've decided that this goat will be a cleric. So I'll do that. And I've decided that my background will be a charlatan. So maybe an unexpected background, but I'm imagining this goat to be sort of a trickster, someone who plays practical jokes on his comrades in arms. I think that sounds a lot of fun. Let's see. So the first thing, of course, that we want to do is to pick up all of the traits I get for being an awakened goat. So I'm going to go to Awakened Animal Adventurers. Goats are found on 27. So let me go there. And everything you need is right here. So, creature type, you are a beast. Let me put that here. Right off the bat, I just wanted to make a mention of this. Because you're a beast and not a humanoid, some spells that target humanoids will not, all the spells that only exclusively target humanoids will not affect you. So that's an advantage in its own right. Then we've got size. You can choose whether to be medium or small. And that's just because there are giant goats, which I think technically are large. You can find their stat block in the player's handbook or the monster manual. So I wanted to give some variation. Maybe you're a small goat, maybe you're a large goat. I think in this one I decided I wanted to be small. So, more in keeping with the size of an actual goat. You are small. Or rather, your size is small. Speed, your overland speed is 40 feet. Charge. I'm just going to take this language instead of rewriting it. And I'll put it here. Charge. Immediately after you take the dash action on your turn and move at least 20 feet, you can make one melee attack with your ram as a bonus action. This is kind of when a goat rears up and charges at you and hits you with its horns. If you hit with this attack, the target takes an extra 1d4 bludgeoning damage, and if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a strength saving throw against a DC equal to 8, plus your proficiency bonus, plus your strength modifier, or be knocked prone. And then I have ram, which is an attack, so I'll put that here. I'll put it at the top because I know that I'm not going to have any other weapons. I am a ram. I mean, I'm a goat. I have horns, and there's nothing else I cannot hold weapons. There's an entire section in here about what that means for your character, that they can't, that unless you have mage hand or something, you can't even pick up a piece of paper, and you certainly can't pick up a weapon. I think a couple of them can, maybe the ape, an awakened ape can, but very few others can, and how I've sort of balanced to take that into account. So ram, it's 1d4 bludgeoning damage. I don't know what the modifier will be because I haven't done my ability scores yet. And then I've got poison resistance. This is just to, the popular saying goes that a goat is very curious and eats anything. While that's technically not true, I wanted to nudge at the fact that popular concept about goats. They're very curious. They will eat a variety of things, lots of different kinds of plants, lots of plants that would make people sick, but they're not going to actually physically eat a tin can, although they will investigate it thoroughly, so you might suspect that they're eating something that they ought not, but they're not. Alright, and sure-footed, which is nice for those when you're up against the kinds of creatures who would like to knock you prone. And then finally tough, I go back one. Your hit point maximum increases by 1, and it increases by 1 every time you gain a level. I don't know what my hit points will be yet, so I'm going to just put a little placeholder there. And then sure-footed, you have advantage on strength and dexterity saving throws made against effects that would knock you prone. So those are all my goat traits. So fun. Alright. What did I decide to name? Oh, I don't have a name. Let's see. What would a good goat name be? Let's name her Delilah. Just off the top of my head. I don't know. Sounds like a good goat name. Okay, so that's pretty much all for your bestial traits. There's not really much more to add except for and then you would go on, right? You would go on to your class traits, your background, and I can do that quickly here. So I decided to be a cleric, I'll just jump over to this. I did all this in advance. So it's a nature cleric. I decided that it would worship a little known, or she would worship a little known goddess named Shialia, who is a Farunian deity of fertility and the woodlands. I thought that was pretty cool, especially when I found out that Shialia even has like a goat. What do they call them? Like a messenger, a prophet type that is quite simply a goat. So I wanted to throw that in there. Um, anyway, I've gone ahead. The other thing I need to say about this supplement is if you go back here, ability score increases are just chosen. You don't have to. There are no ability score modifiers in the actual beast or plant options. So you just choose two to increase. Just choose one ability score to increase by 2 and a different ability score to increase by 1, or 3 different scores by 1. Follow that rule regardless of the method you use to determine the score, such as rolling or point by. I think I went up. I mostly did point by. Whoops, let's skip over here. Delilah. I mostly did point by, except I didn't want anything too low. I kept the strength at 10 and the intelligence at 10. An awakened creature has an intelligence. If you just read the spell and you go by that, maybe they're awakened by some other means, but the awakened spell, their intelligence pops up to 10. So I wanted to keep that there, and I didn't really want anything to drop below 10 for this character. And then I think I put a +1 in wisdom, +1 in constitution, 1+1 in dexterity. And then as you go through, the cleric is, of course, I'm a first level character, so my proficiency bonus is +2. I've got wisdom and charisma proficiencies for saving throws. Some of these things I got by, it was actually really funny. I got to charlatan and it said sleight of hand, and I was like, that doesn't work. They don't even have hands. So I just fudged that a little bit with my DM's approval, perhaps, and moved sleight of hand to stealth. I like the idea of having a really stealthy goat. I also really like the idea of having a goat that just can't resist a pretty face, meaning Delilah will try to find the ram of her dreams. She's falling in and out of love easily, and she's always pursuing someone. So this poor goat with an intelligence of 10, who's trying to find just the perfect match for her. Maybe one day she'll find another talking goat. Who knows? Anyway, you can see, let's see, that hit point maximum is now a D8, right? 8 plus 2 for my constitution modifier, plus another 1 because I'm a goat. I get that hit point bump from this. I don't have a strength modifier, so ram is 1d4 bludgeoning damage, no plus or minus there. Let's see, what else did I get? I have a false identity. I don't know how I would actually work that. Choosing the charlatan background was interesting because it provided all these options, and I wasn't sure if any of them made sense for an awakened goat. But I am open to the idea that she can disguise herself so well that maybe she does look like a human, right? With under a hood and, I don't know, something. Like she's trained herself how to pass off for someone else. She has scale mail barding. Barding you, of course, can use, and that's why her armor class is so high. I think she can use all of her dexterity modifier, so it's like 14 plus your dexterity modifier up to 2. Anything else? Because of who she worshipped, I thought Sylvan was an appropriate language for her. She's got these kits. I don't know how she would use the disguise kit or forgery kit. In my home group, one of the characters has mage hand, so the pony is a wizard in my home group, and so she uses her mage hand for all those, little things like opening up the backpack and grabbing something out of it. Mage Hand being a cantrip, she can cast it however many times she wants. And unless they're in a combat situation, using an action isn't really a problem. So there's that. Oh, I forgot to fill in the passive perception, which would be just 13 because of that +3 wisdom modifier. Yeah, and she is a cleric, so I've given her these cantrips. I wanted her to be a nature cleric, and so I've given her some very nature appropriate cantrips, animal friendship, and speak with animals, which I think is hilarious because she is an animal, but she can use that for interspecies communication, and maybe to talk with goats as well. Maybe there's no way that goats actually natively communicate because they don't have a language, but this she can momentarily talk to those handsome rams that she's interested in. Animal friendship. Yeah, so this is a fun character. I would play this character in a heartbeat. It would be really interesting to play her opposite a bunch of other awakened animals, maybe an exclusively awakened animal group like my home group is doing right now, or just she could pass off as, you know, she could play opposite a bunch of other humanoid PCs, and they could go off on adventures. And she might seem like the party's pet, but she's a fierce warrior in her own right. This would be kind of, she's not gonna be at the forefront, right? She only has this ram option, which does 1d4 bludgeoning damage. So I see her more as a support to others. She can cast guidance and resistance. She can stand back and cast Sacred Flame. She can maybe intimidate others or tap into nature with Druidcraft. She can bless others, cure wounds, inflict wounds when she's in a bind, Guiding Bolt. So these are all sort of like offense. Like she stands back and casts these spells or assists her party members. So lots of fun. And I get a kick out of making her a charlatan and sort of the trickster of the party. Maybe walking through a town with her group and throwing her voice and making, she's a goat, so obviously she couldn't have done it. But yeah, so this is fun. I just wanted to show you a couple of others in Awakened Animal Adventurers. You've got all of these animals. Some of them are not as wild as the others. For example, if you wanted to play a panther, there you go. And that's not too wild, but just a little bit later, if you wanted to play, let's see, if you're doing an aquatic campaign, a shark would be appropriate. Or sometimes you just want to be a giant mushroom that emits a piercing screech. And here's the shriek ability, so you can do that. Of course I made them a bard, because maybe that shriek can be auto-tuned to deliver beautiful music. Or an awakened shrub is another one. So lots of interesting and fun options here. Giant rat, pteranodon. So let me know if you like this. You can pick it up on the Dungeon Masters Guild. Again, Ukulele Bard was the editor and I was the author. This was otherwise a solo project for me. And it was a joy to write, and it's been fun to watch my players that I'm DMing a campaign, to watch my players play around with these characters. And that is it. Kind of a short video this time. Thanks everyone. I'll talk to you later.